This podcast is part of the Hungry Brothers Broadcasting Network.
Visit hungrybrotherspodcast.podbean.com to hear more of our content every week. Welcome to Hungry Dungeon, the D&D podcast where our food is home-cooked and our content is home-brewed. I'm your host, the Burger Master, or Noe.
And I am your co-host, Half Pork, or Greg.
Yeah, we're excited to be back, guys. We had our little bit of our pre-installment, our appetizer.
We had, appetizer, yeah. So the official title for a sense of professionalism is the 3 episodes of Hungry Brothers Hungry Dungeon that is out now is being rebranded as the Hungry Dungeon Primer.
Yeah, and we're super excited. Go ahead and listen to those things, and we're going to be talking a lot in this season, our first season, season 1 of Hungry Brothers, or of Hungry Dungeon. We're going to be talking a lot about D&D. We're going to be talking about our world. We're going to be talking about our thoughts and opinions on different parts of the game. Just a disclaimer, we play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we love it.
Right, and as the intro stated, we also play almost entirely homebrewed content.
That is correct. So we use a lot of the base stuff from D&D, like the races,
the classes,
the items.
Some of the items.
We've
invented a solid number of items for this.
Some of the items, sometimes some of the gods, and I pick and choose of different things because at the end of the day, Dungeons & Dragons is a game that you're supposed to enjoy with your friends, and we have a lot of fun doing it.
Right. So we are firm believers of stuff like the rule of cool.
Absolutely.
Trumping the player's handbook. And we're also advocates of the rule of fun. Trumps the player's handbook every single time.
Absolutely.
Which is why we play music in the back end of our sessions, but it's also why we allowed during the thunderstorm battle with our Goliath, which is why we allowed during the thunderstorm battle of our Goliath, who was using an electrified warhammer. We went ahead and played "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's also why we have a house rule that we call the legendary success. If someone rolls a d20 on a roll, they have the opportunity to roll a d20 again, and if they get another 20, they get something called a legendary success, which could break the encounter.
Right.
Which is super fun. It hasn't happened yet, and I'm waiting for it to happen.
It hasn't.
But we do lots of different things, and we're excited to just take all these different chunks and make this beautiful stew, I guess, of D&D content. Yeah. And today we're starting with our first segment, which Greg and I talk about races in D&D and our thoughts and opinions and how we like them or how we want to see them implemented in our world. And our first race today, as courtesy of Greg's question earlier, is the kobold.
The kobold.
They're cute, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so. They're also a little bit gross.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know what a kobold is, for you weird Dungeons & Dragons people that don't play or read the handbook.
I looked at a kobold for the first time today, so.
Kobolds are like these little lizard people. I don't really have any other way to explain them.
No, they're little lizards.
Yeah.
Well, big lizards, really.
So I'll be reading a little bits and pieces from one of the services we use D&D Beyond that helps us manage all of our information for D&D.
Not a sponsorship.
We wish it was. But here's the first paragraph. Kobolds are often dismissed as cowardly, foolish, and weak, but these little reptilian creatures actually have a strong social structure that stresses devotion to the tribe and are clever with their hands and viciously work together in order to overcome their physical limitations. Cute.
So physical limitations.
Physical limitations being kobolds can grow max 3 feet tall.
Womp womp.
And they'll weigh at most 35 pounds.
Womp womp.
They're so tiny.
This is a dog.
They're so tiny. They're literally this big.
This is a dog.
It's literally a dog. I don't know. I think they're real fun.
Which begs the question.
Can
you take in a kobold as a pet?
Okay, well they're intelligent creatures that they can speak.
My question still stands.
I mean,
or does that skirt the line a little too close to slavery?
Okay, so here's the weird thing about kobolds. Because they're so weak and like such a weak race, they train themselves, and there's something about the way that they understand the world that's, hey, I'll live better if I'm serving someone else.
Oh.
They hardcore like slave themselves under somebody's rule that they think is worthy of rule.
So I don't need to take in a kobold as a pet. I just have to convince the kobold that I'm better than it.
Yes. If you can manage to do so, it'll probably willingly serve you. And if you're draconic in nature or have some kind of bloodline connection, they'll probably worship you as a demigod.
Ooh, I can trick it. My character speaks draconic.
That's possible.
I'm on the hunt for kobolds,
They're
guys.
smart. They're smart, but they're not very wise.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a huge possibility.
On the contrary, my character is wise, but not very smart.
Yeah.
He's of average wisdom.
Yeah, but they're real cool. I don't know. They're like tunnelers. They live like they make tunnels and like holes in mountains and like,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think dwarves, but not cool.
Dwarves, but not cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of like lifestyle.
And do they? So being small, do they take a disadvantage in movement? What is their speed?
They don't take a disadvantage in movement. They have 30 feet with their base.
But dwarves do not.
Correct. Dwarves don't, and they're a little taller. But dwarves are also stockier.
Yeah.
And the reason that their walking speed would go down is based off of your dex score. It's loosely connected to that.
Got it. Okay.
So a kobold gets a +2 increase in dex, but it gets a reduction in strength by 2.
Okay. So a kobold rogue is how you'd want to play a kobold, right?
Possibly. Kobold rogues, spellcaster kobolds are also pretty good.
Yeah, if your spellcasting is wisdom based, like sorcerers.
Yeah, sorcerers would be great for that.
Arcane trickster.
Ooh, arcane trickster would be great for a kobold.
Yeah. Are they innately magical beings?
Kobolds from like the lore in Dungeons and Dragons believe they were like, they were made from dragons. Like they're close relatives of dragons.
They do look very draconic.
Which is why they're like really prone to worship dragons. Because their god is like the messenger boy of Tiamat, the
dragon god?
The dragon goddess of chaos. Yeah, so they like that, I guess.
Okay.
They most humanoids in Dungeons and Dragons lore kind of feel iffy towards magic sometimes. They're kind of like, yes, look at me, I'm magic like my forefathers and like the gods. And they're very cocky and arrogant.
Who, the humans or the kobolds?
The kobolds.
Oh, okay.
For something so small and easily crushable, they're very cocky.
Yeah. So what is their society like?
So
I know they pack bond.
They definitely pack bond, and it's like a strength society. The strongest people are hunters. The people that aren't, they how do I explain this? So the tough part about kobold civilization is like it doesn't last long.
Okay.
Their elders don't get very old. Most kobolds die at like 20.
Oh.
Yeah.
Rip.
They become adults at 6 years old.
Oh, that's very young.
Super young, right? And then they'll most likely die at 20 by disease, violence, or accidents. But apparently they can live up to 120.
What, really cut short there.
But because of this and because they're reptiles, females lay up to 6 eggs a year. It's a lot of kids, you know. So
they're egg layers.
They're egg layers. So you can, and then it takes like a month or two for the eggs to hatch. So you can imagine there's always new kobolds all the time. So their society lives fast and dies fast.
What did the book say? Grows quick, grows quickly.
Grow fast, die early. Yeah, but it's kind of like, who's the best at this? All right, you're doing this. If you're the strongest, you're a hunter. If you're the smartest, you're crafting things. If you're tough, you're a miner, and so on and so on and so on. And everybody's kind of given a role so that the place constantly like recycles, I guess. there's always new blood all the time, and old
Interesting.
blood is dying off, and that's how they grow. So it's, I don't know. You can imagine that they're very close to each other, but not affectionate.
Right.
Because how can you be affectionate with somebody that's only there for 6 years? You know.
Right.
But
Is it patriarchal, matriarchal?
none.
None.
It's just whatever's the strongest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, all right, you're the most like a leader. You're a leader then.
Very cool.
You know, you have all these traits of a leader. Great, you're a leader.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so if they have people that have multiple traits, then it's just like, okay, well, which of you's better at it? Because it's just for convenience, and people are always cycling through. Yeah, it's
Okay.
interesting. You know?
So let's start connecting into our world.
Yeah.
Where are the kobolds in our world?
So kobolds typically live in, because they're cold-blooded,
Mm-hmm.
they live in like forests, rainforest, temperate jungles, places where there's heat. So at least for me, I can imagine them living towards the southern half of the continent.
Okay.
And southern and western sides of the continent. Because on the west,
they wouldn't end up in the desert.
they might end up in the desert.
Okay.
And they might, most likely not in the desert, but probably in the mountain ranges around it.
Gotcha.
Because they like to tunnel, they like to dig, they live underground, and that would be a perfect place for them to live because of the heat and the geographical location. Mm-hmm. And I can also see them living in small, in a mountain range, or in small little huddles above ground, which would be rare. But in the western country that we have, the Shattered Isles, which is a jungle nation.
Gotcha. But never in the cities or anything like that.
Most likely not in the cities.
They would not adapt to society.
I could see them adapting to society, but I know that they have a lot of trouble with certain races. So kobolds hate gnomes.
Oh, okay.
Because there was like some in the lore, there's like something that happened with their god and a gnome god, where they like got in this fight.
So Hupperduke's off limits.
Hupperduke is definitely off limits.
Do the gnomes equally hate the kobolds?
No. The gnomes are kind of just like, the kobolds hate us, I guess.
That's my favorite. Is that like dwarves? This is Tolkien. I don't know if this is true of D&D as well. But whereas Tolkien dwarves hate the elves, but the elves just kind of don't care.
That is also generally true for D&D.
Okay.
Dwarves and elves are kind of viewed as opposites. In D&D.
Graceful tall people versus clumsy short people.
Well, not even clumsy. It's like what's the word?
Short little walls of mass.
Short battering rams. Oh, yeah.
That's the one.
But I can see these creatures living in like really arid places in the world. You know, it makes sense.
Right.
It would make sense to see tribes of them roaming in the desert, looking and hunting creatures that live there for food, and then running back into the mountains whenever there's sign of first trouble.
Cool.
You know, super, super cool. You know, and I'm a very big fan of world building, especially in our campaign.
Well, and this is a little bit hypocritical of me, but I really like. I always end up playing a human, but I do really like the other races. That you get to play. That's always really fun.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with them. You know.
Right.
Like I think one of my favorite races to this day is probably the Tiefling, and we'll talk about that at some point. But I love them so much.
Okay.
They're just so twisted and dark, but hopeful sometimes. You know.
So to close on this segment,
yeah.
I want you to think about it, and I think you're the better answer for this because you've got more of the knowledge. Mm-hmm. But I want you to think of the best class combination.
Okay.
The best class combination to have with a kobold, and also the worst class combination to have with a kobold.
Okay. Worst. I'm gonna take this from role playing and from like mixing things together, like role playing and actual stats and stuff.
Right.
I think one of the best classes that you could probably have for this is probably a ranger.
Oh, okay.
Because kobolds have pack tactics. They have dark vision. They're quick. They're small, and they're good at being alone. In certain spots.
Yeah, you could choose the hermitage.
Yeah.
Background.
Well, the good thing about this race is they like to be with people, but they're also great because they're so small at creating openings from different spots.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
So you need something that's mobile. So I'm thinking, at least for me, I would think Ranger because it's largely a dex build plus wisdom.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Which would be good for it. I think probably the worst thing for this would definitely be a barbarian.
Yeah, I was gonna say barbarian. Or a bard.
Oh no.
A charisma build.
Dude. Well, that'd be like a neutral thing, I think. But I think a strength build would be so bad
be so
because they
disadvantageous.
have a negative in strength.
Uh-huh.
I also think it'd be funny, like, watching this little 3-foot kobold just run
Rage.
up to, like, a giant and rage and be like, and just splat, you know?
Gives it a little prick on the toe and then...
Yup, just splats that sucker, dude. Oh, man.
That's excellent. Well, before we move into our next segment, me as the other guy in this podcast, I want to graciously announce that if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you, for one. We really appreciate you being
Heck
here.
yeah.
And two, please check out our other weekly podcast that comes out on this network called Hungry Brothers Nerd News, hosted by yours truly.
Mm-hmm. And co-hosted by me.
Yes.
The tables turn.
Yeah, so the tables turn. I run that podcast, and that comes out every Tuesday, as here we are with Dungeon coming out every Thursday. So tune in every week twice. Or more. You can listen to us more than once in the week.
Heck, there's a lot of episodes to listen to.
You may not be able to handle it,
You probably won't be able to.
but you're invited to.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're
Also
excited to
sponsor
have you
us,
guys.
please.
Please help us. Oh, gosh. All right. So, Greg, I got this new tool recently for D&D.
Okay,
And I've been super, super excited to just, like, dive into it.
It's
and
a
to talk
20. It's a
about it.
21-sided die.
It is. If this is a dice, this is a D100.
Oh, I've seen the D100s. They're basically balls.
Yes, they're huge and they have so many possibilities. Just like this system that I'm using, Realmworks. This is not a sponsored episode,
But it could be.
It could be. Realmworks, hit us up. But
We know you're listening.
God, we're bringing that back. So I have this this system.
It's the joke that'll never die, Noe.
I have this system that I downloaded on my computer, and I want you to imagine for a second Google.
Okay.
All right, you see the browsing page.
I see all the colorful letters.
Yes. So
unless it's like Harriet Tubman's birthday or something.
So take away the colors.
Okay.
Take away the.
Close my eyes. Visualize.
Yep. Take away the colors. Take away the logo. Right.
Okay.
You have the blank screen.
Got
you
a bar.
have the bar. Now, what I want you to do is I don't want you to turn that bar instead of horizontal. Turn it vertical. Put it on your left side.
Okay.
And
On
then-
my left side.
Yep, on
Okay.
your left side.
Got
now,
that.
Everything that you could possibly know about the D&D world that you're playing is listed there
Oh, okay.
in an easy and organized manner. So if you're looking for special events that have happened that you've witnessed, there's a tab for that. Events. You click on the tab, outlists all of the events.
Revolution in Hupperduke.
Yep, you can click Revolution in Hupperduke. I literally have it right here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have it named Kidnapping in Hupperduke.
What else have I witnessed?
How about the Rays of Trelevan
The Rays of Trelevan?
with the dragon
oh,
scorching the entire glass
no.
city? That's there.
You're right, I did witness that.
It has all of your big plot points, big story moments listed there of things that you can have. Mm-hmm. Also, right below that tab, you close your events tab, and then it shows underneath a people tab. Here are all of your NPCs that you've met.
Ooh, not player
Every
characters.
single one, including your player characters.
Oh.
And the information that you know about all of them.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I can't wait to jump in on that.
So, give me a character that you know.
How about the High Elf, Ixalia?
You look up High Elf Ixalia. Alphabetical order.
Uh-huh.
She's right there. X. Ixalia.
Got it.
You click on her, and it opens her tab like it would a browser.
Uh-huh.
Creates its own tab, and it shows you an overview of her character, her alignment if you know it, her gender, her race, her class, her age, her challenge rating, her character role,
Her known allies?
her known allies.
Okay, so then from there, could I then look at Jaundice?
All right. So from there, you'll scroll down to her personal life or her professional life based off of what you think this is, and you'll be able to see that there's a link there that says Invictus, which is the name of her past adventuring party.
Okay.
You click on the link, it opens another tab that shows the general profiles of everybody in that party.
The ones that I know about.
The ones that you know about.
So
you know of Jaundice
and Vecna.
So you click on Jaundice, now you're in Jaundice's screen.
okay, and I know a lot about Jaundice
And you know a lot about Jaundice.
because I worked for him.
So you open Jaundice and it shows you his background. It shows his schedule. It shows what his where he lives. It shows his thoughts when you last spoke to him. It shows the possible quests that he's connected to, and it shows his relationships individually to each of the people in Invictus his relationships to you.
Was it Jaundice and Exalia that were banging it out together?
No.
Or was that Vecna?
It's Vecna. Vecna was the dark elf.
That's right. Vecna was a dark elf, and he was with Exalia, the high elf. Scandalous.
Scandalous.
Fun fact, Vecna don't like sunlight.
True.
Other fun fact, he did like Exalia.
Ooh. So, you have that.
Okay.
Crazy. Super organized.
How about places?
Places? Of course. So you skip over the groups tab, which is if you wanted to just quickly scroll over your group, your adventuring party, Invictus, groups like the Black Hood, smaller groups within the Black Hood like the Talons.
Okay.
You could click each of those and find relevant information about all of those things. Then you could go to places. Your places are split into different tabs.
Okay.
Okay?
So can I tangent you real quick?
Absolutely.
Because I'm the king of tangents on these podcasts.
Yes, you are.
But you said Talons, and I have to tell you, I've been reading a lot of comic books lately. One series that I'm now two volumes in on is it's called Batman: The Court of Owls. It's from the New 52.
Yeah.
And there's essentially this secret society group living underneath Gotham called the Court of Owls, and their assassins are called the Talons.
That's so cool.
So you said the Talons, and I shuddered because I thought about Batman. I was like, ah!
And think about that. We have it flipped.
Yeah, you're right.
The secret society is called the Black Hood,
right?
Equivalent to the Court of Owls.
And the leaders are called the Talons.
are called the Talons.
And the assassins are called the Ravens.
Super cool.
I love the Black Hood. How did we come up with something that good?
I don't know, dude. But I have every detail, including the Black Hood's history dating back to when it started.
Oh, that's excellent. From Eric?
Is
it still Eric?
It is still Eric, but there's other stuff that you don't know about it.
But yeah, I haven't delved into the history of that yet.
The super cool thing about this service is on my screen, when you guys get access to this, when I finish all of the database of inputting the entirety of our world there, I have these little dots. So let me enter player mode for you. Let me click on somebody you know.
Dude, are you able to put it up there?
I don't have an HDMI, I'm sorry.
Oh, rip.
But look take a look at this.
Okay.
This is what you see, and this is what you know about one character. Now, if I were to click that button at the top that says player mode, it shows all of the information relevant to the character in its entirety, including the stuff that you guys don't know, that I know as the DM. And with the click of a button,
you can reveal stuff
live while you guys are playing and have that tab open. Those things will pop up on your screen of bits of information that you don't know.
That's really cool.
It's awesome.
That's great. So if I'm say the character we were looking at right now was Yeldrasa, who's my master. Say I was in a conversation with Yeldrasa and I ask about her past. As you playing Yeldrasa are telling me, you can reveal to me these bits and pieces on her page. That's cool.
Yep.
That's really cool.
What else I can do is in my screen, I see, if I'm telling you a story as Yeldrasa, I can show, all right, this is, there's a little symbol right here that shows me whether or not my character is telling the truth right now.
Oh.
So I could plan and calculate the lies that I want to tell you guys if I'm a character.
Right. Okay.
That's intense.
That's really cool.
And you guys won't know until later you guys find out the character's lying. It reveals something, additional information that contradicts this stuff that you've experienced. And then I can reveal to you that it was a lie.
Very cool.
Okay, so we were talking about places.
Right.
So places, you open up your places tab, and there's a lot of stuff there. Okay.
Yeah, we got a whole continent.
It's split not by continents, but by dimensions first.
Oh.
Yes.
Ew.
So it's split by planes. So if you're saying places, I want to know about the realm of the gods, Ethereum. You click on Ethereum, bam, it shows you in Ethereum the world.
And I know nothing about it.
You know nothing about it. You know that it's there.
I know that it exists.
You know that it exists. Nothing. But it would show you the continents that exist in that plane.
Okay.
All right? Don't know anything about that. You haven't experienced them. Close. Let's go into our regular plane, the mortal plane, or the material plane, right? You click on the material plane, it shows you our world. Farah. And then you're like, oh, I know this world.
Justice reigns from above.
I know this world. We probably would never use different planets.
Right.
But, so I don't have that there. I have...
But you could.
I could. But I have...
For when we play Star Wars D&D.
Exactly. For when we play Star Wars D&D. But I have it, Lusa, the name of our continent. You click Lusa, opens up, and it shows you...
All the different...
Right off the bat,
countries?
All of the different countries and lands in that continent.
Cool.
So it shows you, when you click on Lusa, the spot itself, not opening the various tabs of the continents that show up underneath it. It shows you the map right at the top. It shows you points of interest that you do know, like the Lucidian Ocean,
right,
which is to the west, the Glistening Sea to the east, the Telmari Wastes, which are the northern part of the continent.
The Elderwood,
the Esterlands, the Nazari Desert, the Vertalock, everything.
Cool.
And then, from all of those things, you can say, all right, I want to go from this page that's open, from this tab, I want to click, I'm going to show you this live right now. I want to see what I know about the Esterlands. So, you go, and you click on the link, and it opens the tab for the Esterlands.
Okay.
Bringing up all of the relevant information that you know about that political power and that land.
Which for me would be a lot.
Which for you would be
Being
a
that
lot
I'm
of information.
Native, and I work for the government's espionage division.
So you would know a lot of stuff about it.
Cool.
So, it's great. What else I could do with that in the continent page is I could say what are the continent's main exports and resources that they're known for.
Food.
So food is a big one. You would know that.
Right.
Your party would know that because any information that you know is now technically dispersed with your party.
Correct.
But stuff that I would know, and you would know this because your character is a history buff.
Indeed.
You would know that because of the event that happened in the Telmari Waste, the Cataclysm. You would know that there are a lot of ancient and magical artifacts that bring a lot of tourism to that area, even though it's dangerous, because people want those artifacts.
Right.
Which means that's a lot of money, and the country's well known for that.
For being a rich place?
Not for being a rich place, but for being a place that has some kind of deep magical history.
Rich in culture.
Absolutely. Makes it a tourist destination.
Right.
I could reveal that to you guys, and you guys would know. And it's cool, and I love this system.
Yeah, that seems really it seems intuitive more than anything.
Yes. This system is a way for me to organize the entirety of the world, including the various plots and quests that you guys are on. So, what we just talked about was just the World Almanac, or the database for the world itself, the physical parts of it.
Right.
We didn't even talk about the literal timeline that now exists in the span of this world, dating every single event in the context of history.
Oh, there's a timeline.
There's a timeline. And you can check years and stuff and see when things relate to each other or how long it's been since something has happened. So your character has been looking for Ephraim the Desert Scourge
right,
who came into the world
Like 3,000 years ago?
3,000 years ago, right? You can now scroll back 3,000 years ago, and as you uncover more information about that time period, you can see how things related to that event.
Uh-huh.
In time.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Wild.
Yeah.
And
so
that's the timeline.
How far back does the timeline go?
So for our world, it goes back to the creation of the material plane,
That's incredible.
where the gods, the three primal gods, created from their intense affairs, created everything that exists in the material plane.
That is absolutely wild.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And then, my favorite part right now that I'm really stoked about, I can track and plot out your guys' quests under the name of our campaign.
Okay.
So I could say Sanctuary, which is the name of our campaign. And then I could look at something called Finding Vecna, which is a quest that you guys are currently on. And then you can see all of the plot points that led to its current state.
Okay.
And as you uncover more information, you can learn more about the plot and what's going on. And I can also plan out every individual moment that's supposed to happen when you guys get there.
Ooh. Okay. So remind me the name of our continent?
Lusa.
Lusa. So under the Farah tab, when we see continents, do we also see the continent where the who is the main character of that campaign? Queen Ameliora. Do we see that continent?
You
Will we
can
see
see that continent.
stuff eventually?
Eventually, you will see that continent.
Very cool.
And they are ancient history.
Right. And then there's nothing in the future as of yet. Very cool. Are those the only two campaigns that take place in this world?
I also have a campaign running with my church D&D group, and they're running through the same campaign that you guys are running through at the same time in different parts of the world.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes there are like things that happen in their campaign because you guys are just a little bit before them. That directly things that happen in your guys' campaign directly affect their campaign.
Interesting. Okay. Wait, we affect their campaign or they affect ours?
You guys affect theirs.
So we happen first.
Yes, you guys happen first. So the way that I have this is they're about a month behind you guys.
Gotcha.
And there's a way, if this was ever something you guys wanted to do, and I would hate it because it'd be a nightmare.
It'd be a nightmare for planning.
It'd be a nightmare for planning, and it'd be a nightmare for running. But there's a way for you guys to like stall what you guys are doing, and then if you guys are lucky and plan this out well enough, you guys could meet
line up
at the same place, and then we would have to have a 12-person joint session.
Ew.
Yeah.
Wait, you DM 8 people in that group?
I DM 6 people in that group.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so 10.
So a 10-person. Still ridiculous.
Still, yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
Still 4 more than I'm comfortable with.
Good to know. Where are they?
They are... You guys are just traveling out of Trelevon, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are about to get there.
Oh, they're in Lusa.
Yes, they are in Lusa.
Oh.
They are about to get to Trelevon because while you guys were investigating what's happening in the Esterlands, they were just investigating what was happening in the Shattered Isles.
No.
Yeah.
Ah, that's ridiculous.
Guess which character they ran into?
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't tell me.
It's him.
Don't even say his name. Ah.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to use his voice.
But they ran into Scald.
They ran into Scald.
That's awful.
And you know what? They felt the same exact way that you guys feel about him.
Yeah, and they should.
Their whole thing is like, we need to kill this guy, but also, are we right in killing this guy?
Exactly, yeah.
And it's so good. He's such a good character.
Okay, so can we do a general... I know we did this previously, but can we do a general plot outline?
Yeah, absolutely. So, here's some world building for you guys.
Our favorite thing.
Our favorite thing for this podcast. Our world is deeply magical, and let me check my timeline really quickly.
So I got to tell you that content producer Mac and Cheese just texted me.
Mm-hmm.
She plays a lot of Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
She caught a shiny Bronzor.
Wow.
It's green.
So, 15,000 years ago in our world, things unraveled in the realm of the gods and the dimension that we call the nine hells.
9 of them.
9 of them.
Okay.
Every single one has their own different theme. It's very intense.
Got it.
But these demons, these demon lords, plotted a way to flip their dimensions so that they can have more power, and to suppress the will of the gods that were governing the material plane. Right? They broke out. There was this huge war on the continent that you guys are currently on. And this all happened in the Telmari Waste, which is why it's called the Wastes.
Right.
This event was called the Cataclysm. This went on for 5,000 years.
Jesus.
And ended 10,000 years ago. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 6,000 years as a result of what happened there. Ephraim, the Desert Scourge, falls into the center of the continent. And legend says that he had done all these things, and he conquered most of the known world, or most of that continent, and then you are, after he was killed and sealed away, you're looking into if he's back.
A potential resurgence.
A potential resurgence of this sealed away character.
And that's what caused me to meet Aaron Sanarath and Pavash in the Elderwood.
Correct. Now, Aaron Sanarath is concept producer Mac and Cheese, or in this podcast, Mimax character.
Ew, I hate that.
It's so good, isn't it?
I forgot about it.
It's so good. And Pavash is a character that I made who's kind of like the Avatar from Avatar The Last Airbender, but a druid.
Sorry, that it's kind of like the Avatar from Avatar.
The Last Airbender. Yeah, not the blue one.
Not the blue one.
But the arrow one, the little boy.
Arrow Boy.
But
Part 2.
Pavash is a druid, and one of the few druids, and there's only one per continent, that has the equivalent to balance out the life that regular druids give.
Right.
And they give off this essence of death and decay. It's not necessarily bad. Most people view it that way. But it's this like balancing force.
Right. Well, it is certainly dangerous.
Absolutely.
We used to not be able to touch her.
It's true. And you guys went traveling, connecting dots and trying to find something was wrong with the Elderwood. This huge forest was sick, and these trees, which were only found in this part of the continent, were starting to die. And it had something to do with Pavash.
Right.
And so you guys set on this journey north towards the Telmari Waste, where there is a large library where previous reincarnations of her have kept all of their knowledge. This place is known as the Athenium.
The Athenium?
The Athenium.
Okay.
Correct. And it's a very large library that is basically a sanctuary for the Pavash. It's like her temple. Mm-hmm. So you guys go over there, and you guys are traveling through Hupperduk, which is a gnomish engineering city on the outskirts of the desert in the center of our continent. And you guys uncover a child trafficking ring where one of the kid Kiri that you guys adopted
after we may or may not have murdered her family?
Possibly. You guys still don't know.
Nope. We never will.
Nope, never will. After she was kidnapped during one of Hupperduk's raging bangers, which is they have a loud party every single night.
Every single night.
Without single night. Without fail. And then they work hard throughout the daytime.
So that they can party.
Super great society. Love it.
Sounds like California.
California.
Knows how to party. That sounded like knows how to potty.
California, we're killing turtles.
No, it's true.
It's true.
Oh.
But you guys go underground and you find her to discover that this child trafficking ring, even though like they cleared out before you guys could actually deal with it.
You killed one of them.
You killed one of them, but they disappeared the next day.
Did we?
You guys rescued the kids that were all missing there, and you guys found out somehow that the government was trying to cover this up.
Right. That's when our buddy Scald overthrew the government. Mm-hmm. Right? Or not entirely, but...
Your buddy Scald, who you guys met at this village in the Elderwood that was just settling the area and trying to build it. He was there with those people, with this group of 30 people trying to start a settlement.
Who were all very mild-mannered and lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Scald was the only sketchy one in the whole crew.
That's probably why you guys had such a strong reaction to him.
Because everything else was literally perfect. Everything else was Canada.
Uh-huh.
And Scald was Alabama.
Oh, God.
Scald.
Such a good character, dude. But the help of your new buddy Scald, you guys witness Scald stir the people up into a righteous frenzy, question mark?
Righteous has the big question mark. The frenzy is not a question mark.
Frenzy's not a question mark, but righteous is definitely a question. And they got all re-elected,
They
recreated.
They recalled
Yeah.
much of the current government.
Mm-hmm. There was only one person in the government that remained, and it was the lawmaster.
Right.
Because the people found that she was actively trying to figure this out, and that she was being stopped at every turn.
She was incapable of being corrupted because she was the true essence of lawful good. Mm-hmm. Everything's by the books, no matter what. Mm-hmm. No exceptions, no BS, period.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh yeah, we could trust her, of course. And when she found out this stuff, she, frustrated, came and revealed all of her records, and people were like, yeah, we can trust her. But every other elected official, gone. Dunzo. New elected officials.
Rippy
you guys
dippy.
left at the peak of the overthrowing of Hupperduke. And you guys left with a new friend, Gareth, the gnome, who was the guard
who held my character in prison the whole night. And my good lord, did I really torture that poor bastard.
You really did. And then Scald got arrested, and the two of you tortured him.
Well, Scald and I had a little bit of a heart-to-heart.
You really did.
Overnight. It was an off... they were with the other character. DM was DMing the other characters while Scald and I had the heart-to-heart, so we don't actually know what was said. Mm-hmm. But when I was arrived to be bailed out, Scald and I were being buddy-buddy, and it was appalling to Aaron, who had witnessed
it was great.
our previous tension.
It was great. And you guys leave, convincing Gareth to quit his job now that the government is completely different.
How badly did he roll that I was able to convince him?
He rolled pretty low, and also, like, there was a lot riding on this decision, because he's like, man, everyone hates the government right now.
And I work for the government.
I work for the government. I'm just trying to get my job. This isn't what I wanted to do anyways. I haven't had nearly enough time to spend with my cat. And
his cat's awesome, by the way.
Oh, his cat's great. And he's like, also, I want to write a book, and I'm not going to see the world if I'm just locked in this jail cell. I'm almost as imprisoned and shackled as the prisoners that I watch over.
That's really, really sad.
And he had this moment where he's like, you know what? I'm going to live life. And he came with you guys, a gunslinger, one of the few in the world.
He was awesome.
Or one of the people there. A lot of them are gunslingers.
Right.
But an actual gunslinger outside of Hupperduke is just ridiculous. So you guys travel into the desert, trying to get Pavash north so that you guys can do this. All the while, you guys are trying to help your friend Mistigan, who wants to create this wonderful zoo and this sanctuary for all living creatures. You guys are cataloging and basically Pokédexing a bunch of different animals in the world.
To find all the Pokemon in the world.
That's exactly what it is.
That was my dream.
It's exactly what it is.
How old is Mistigan?
Mistigan? I think I said he's in his 30s.
Oh, he's young.
Yeah, he's super young.
How long do tieflings live?
Tieflings live a little bit longer than humans. 120, 130.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason they were capable of being like ancient beings, like elves.
I think they can. I'll need to recheck that. Why don't you tell us what else you remember after that? Because you guys go straight into the desert after this.
Right. So we decided to travel through the desert, which because I was doing my job going to the desert, and I convinced them that the best way to get to the tundra areas where Pavash's sanctuary was, I convinced them that the best way to go about it was to go straight through the desert, which no one was excited about, including my character Jace. But he'd already been through the desert, so he was prepared for it.
Yeah, just a few years longer than humans.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So as we travel through the desert, we arrived to a sort of... Oh, well, we met two more people.
Yeah, you did. You guys met our two new party members, Rock and Requise, played by Gunnar and Matt, respectively.
Right.
Matt, who was on Hungry Brothers Nerd News. Go check out that episode.
Episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the bad ones.
Season 1.
So we meet them, and we immediately don't trust them.
Mm-hmm. You guys find out later that they get shot out of Hupperduke for...
trying to
Gunnar
eat
is
children?
racist. Gunner's racist against any small race.
Right.
Or his character, Rock, who is this giant Goliath barbarian and sees size as a form of weakness.
Right.
And if you're too small, then you're too small to live.
So he hated the gnomes in Hupperduke.
He despised them.
But there was actually a funny misunderstanding that happened a lot later. And he says something along the lines of, small people don't like them, get rid of them. And what I took that to mean was, oh no, Rock was in charge of the child trafficking business under Hupperduke.
Yeah.
Which was not the case.
It was not the case. Correlation, not causation. But there was this whole thing of like them roughing up people in Hupperduke and then getting shot out of the cannon and barely surviving in the desert. When you guys come across them on death's door,
they were nearly dead. Yeah.
They're nearly dead, and you guys take mercy on them for some godforsaken reason.
Well,
because they're party members.
I took mercy on them because they were people in character, but I was not very nice to them.
No, you were not.
I strapped them to the legs of our mounts, which were very large dinosaur-like creatures.
And you strapped Requise to Gunner's leg and his head in between his legs,
which was not a very clean place to be at the time. It changed later.
He is now the cleanest person in our campaign, which is crazy. But yeah, it is. You guys are traveling through the desert when you guys come across this small
cube-like
ancient building covered in sand. You guys explore it to find a stairway leading down into a circular chamber with nothing but these paintings on the wall that seem to move when you look at them slowly. Like what are those new pictures that they call? What are those pictures that you do with iPhone?
Like a portrait mode?
No, like you take the picture and it like moves a little.
Oh, like the live photo.
Like a live photo, exactly. But a painting. A quartz throne in the middle and a doggy bed on the side.
Or according to our Goliath, a new hat.
Yep.
God.
And you guys are exploring this place when Pavash is exploring one side of it and sees this large stone archway that looks a lot like a door. Looking at it, touches the frames and gets absorbed into the frame through the stone.
But not before she grabs our gnome friend.
She grabs Gareth, your gnome friend. Mac almost kills me. She was staring me down the rest of the session.
It was traumatic.
It really was.
And we haven't seen them since.
You haven't seen them since. You guys don't know if they're alive. You don't know where they are. You don't know if they're in the same dimension.
We heard word.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, when we got to Trelevon, which is the capital of my character's home country.
You guys talked to the Ravens.
We talked to the Ravens, and we heard word from our eyes and ears all over the continent that the temple was opened.
And there was some kind of magical response that happened in the world around it that was witnessed by a lot of people.
Right. And we take that to mean that at least Pavash, arrived safely.
Correct.
Gareth likely traveled through a plane of Ethereum. We don't know if he survived it because Ethereum.
Yeah, the realm of the gods. But heartbroken, you guys are like, oh gosh, we need to go find them. They must be close. We need to get out of this place because you guys heard thunder and lightning starting
Though-
the moment that Rock
Yep.
picked up the doggy bed and put it on his head as a hat.
So we hightail
So you guys dip.
quickly.
Yeah. And the storm is following you. And then you guys are like, we need to get rid of the hat. The hat, it's the problem.
And we
you guys,
had to attempt to reason with the idiot Goliath, who's not actually an idiot, mind you.
Yeah, he's one of the smartest in the
He
party.
just doesn't have social skills.
Yeah, he has reverse social anxiety, which is my favorite thing. That he's incredibly intelligent, and with strangers, he's fine. He can just talk like a normal person.
But with his friends.
But with his friends, he can't communicate
He's an
at
idiot.
all. Incredible. It's such a good thing. It's such a good player thing. But
Because we talk to him like he's stupid too, but he's smarter than most of us.
he has the same intelligence as you, I think.
That eggplant is terrifying.
Isn't it?
Yeah, overcooked. Nope. I don't like that game.
Great game.
I don't like
I don't
that
like
game.
it either, but it's great. So you guys go.
Now
you
I'm
guys
coughing.
are going north.
Right.
Thinking like, well, if anybody's gonna know where she is, obviously it's gonna
be my people.
It's gonna be your people, the Ravens. They have eyes and ears everywhere. Of course they'll know. So you guys start traveling north through the desert, leaving the doggy bed behind, and the moment you leave the doggy bed, the storm stops.
And picks up the doggy bed,
Picks
right?
up the doggy bed and
and takes
gone.
it back to the temple, assumingly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
I would have loved to see what would have happened if you guys had just stuck with the doggy bed.
Oh, probably much worse things than what happened in Trelevon.
Absolutely, much worse.
Oy,
Quick
boy.
question. What do you think that was?
I thought it was the cat god,
Yeah.
the destructive cat god, but I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I just know it's the desert, and it was a dark storm cloud coming. And one of the legends that Jason knows about is that cat god of destruction making contact with the world at the Telmari, at the center of the Telmari Waste.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I believe that was.
And his official title, that god, Genezra.
Genezra.
He's Cassie, and he is the god of destruction and disaster.
Right. And
Which
he sent
is-
a storm after us.
Which is
allegedly.
a very intense title,
Yeah.
and I love it. I'm a big fan of that.
So we travel on.
Yeah, so you guys travel on.
We
You
take
guys,
we take refuge with the tribe leaders of the desert as we begin the exit, and we take a double refuge with Mistigan, who's planted a new sanctuary at the northern foot of the desert. Mm-hmm. And there we get to hang out. We get to fight a big pink gorilla. We take rest there. Our two new party members are initiated into the way of the sanctuary.
You guys are now considered hunters.
And
is like your guys' official title
Right.
in the guild.
And we hightail it on to Trelevon. But we had a couple of roadblocks.
Yeah, the moment you guys get out of the desert, there's a wind blowing from the west.
Oh boy.
And
All I'm going to say is thank the gods for the gas mask that I made.
Greg had this idea one day that he's like, I'm a rogue, I get poisoned, I want to have a gas mask so that I could at least filter some of these things out. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, sure. So he makes it, and he's the only person that manages to make this save. As this fog rolls in over them as they're traveling out of the desert and starting to get into a more forested area, they set up camp, and this fog encompasses them and the surrounding area. As this happens, I have them all roll wisdom saves before the fog even rolls in.
No. Constitution.
Constitution, sorry. Roll Constitution saves. Everyone fails except Greg.
Right.
And they wake up, and in the session, what happens is they're playing through their day and what they're going, and it just seemed weird and off.
And Jace was saying weird cryptic things.
Jace is saying weird, cryptic things. The light is weird. Everything seems super happy and like, yeah, we made it out of the desert. We're doing great. When I reveal to Jace or to Greg via text message that
They are dreaming.
they're dreaming and they're wide awake. And the only person that is not doing that sees that they are rigid in their motions right now, is Greg, his character. And so Greg finds a way to wake up Rock from his sleep. Rock wakes up and he plops out of the dream. And now he's there seeing the rest of his characters. But for everybody else that's still in that trance, they are sharing they're experiencing a shared dream together.
Right.
And all they see is Rock stop to like pick something out of his toes
and then just disappear.
Then he's gone in the fog, and they're like, he'll catch up with us. And you guys had to find a way to get them out of that.
What did we do? I can't remember.
You woke up Requise. I don't remember how. It was something that Rock said. And then you woke up Erin by like the three of you guys like shouting at her and shaking her. And as you guys are waking up, there's this black ichor just coming from your guys' mouths, and you guys are like, if we stay here, we're gonna die. So you guys hightail it. I think
we took like 3 or 4 points of
exhaustion. You guys took right? 3 points of exhaustion just trying to escape this fog as it was just rolling in thick in the area. And you guys collapse. Making the raven call.
As we were traveling, I was consistently making the calls of the raven, which is like in a different code. It's like a coded language, almost like Morse code. So making these raven noises, I was like, someone's going to hear us. Someone's going to be an ally. Someone's going to protect us. And, well, someone did.
Yeah. And not who you expected. You expected like a raven, some person that is closely affiliated.
No.
But what you end up finding is that character that we talked about earlier, Exalia.
We awaken in a cottage, the first of us to wake up. We wake up in a cottage next to a high elf wearing like commoner's robes, doing commoner's things, making us food. And she pulled a Skyrim. She was like, "You're finally awake," but not in that accent.
Yeah. What did she sound like? You're finally awake.
Yeah.
I remember now.
Yeah, and I was very baffled because I expected to see someone a little more like my master. Which, to be fair, she does kind of look like my master.
A little bit.
They're both high elves.
Yeah, but she has these really intense, like, almost like crow's feet. But like just these like wrinkles, long, all the way across, like crow's feet, just reaching across her temples.
Only there,
but everywhere else, spotless, not a wrinkle. You guys find out later that she is connected to the guy that you worked for in Hupperduke, Jaundice, during your guys' brief stay there.
Well, I recognized her face from a poster that I saw while I was working there, or not a poster, a
portrait,
a painting,
and
a poster.
You
get your Invictus merch here. Get your Vecna bugs.
Ew.
And your jaundice trinkets. Don't forget about your latex Exalia wrinkles.
Oh no.
Get the Invictus t-shirt. represent.com/Invictus.
It's so bad.
Oh no.
But yeah, you see her, recognize her, and like, wow, how do you know a raven? And you find out more about this Vecna character that you originally planned on rescuing, that he was a former raven, and disappeared into the 9 hells.
You know what I remember from that first encounter? Is I remember I woke up and I was not wearing my gear. And I was like, I want to look for my stuff. And I rolled a nat 1.
Yep.
And I couldn't find my stuff that was right next to me. Yeah. And I was like, you stole my stuff. And she was like, no, I didn't. It's right there.
And you're just like, oh.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Jace, this 17-year-old boy.
Oh, Jace, trying so hard to be an edgelord.
Oh, what a good boy. I love him.
He really is a good kid.
He is a good boy.
So we recover.
Yeah, you guys recover.
So, do we want to talk about the Robe of Tongues?
Yes.
So we travel to a city called Runetier.
Which is your home city's sister city.
It's the sister city of my hometown. But in
Fairmuir.
But don't tell nobody about that. And I meet some people from home.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
You do. It was the twins, right?
Yeah, the twins. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the what are they called? The
I don't remember.
something twins. No, you met the twins later.
Oh, I met the twins in Trelevon.
Yeah, you met the twins on the outskirts of Trelevon.
I did not meet anyone from home there.
No.
I met the farmer lady in Trelevon as well.
Yeah.
So nobody from home, thank goodness. But we go into this general goods store.
Uh-huh.
And we encounter some interesting characters. What were those guys' names?
All I know
They were dogs.
is that they're a direct port from a Critical Role campaign.
Oh, okay.
And I love them. They talk like this.
Oh,
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
They're the worst.
They're so great.
Don't they all have the same name?
Yes. What's his name? Something Prime. Pumat. Pumat Soul.
Pumat Soul and Pumat Prime.
And they are a direct port from a Critical Role campaign, and I just love them.
What was their race?
They're Furbolgs.
Oh, God, is that homebrew?
No, that is a legitimate D&D race.
Oh.
They're cool. They're fun. But they are...
Basically, envision, if you will, Mr. Peanut Butter from BoJack Horseman.
Yeah. And envision one of them being like the leader, and the other ones all being like the exact same somehow.
I was convinced before I saw them standing next to each other that it was like in season 3 of Avatar with Doc, Shu, and Mushi.
Yeah, that it's all like the same guy.
The same dude.
Meta, what they are is they have an item there, and I remember talking about it, that they had this thing in a frame there, and what that item does is it helps the guy clone himself and to hold up that spell without ever having to change it.
Okay.
And so it's like a perfect clone spell.
Interesting. Okay, I got it. So it is the same guy.
Mm-hmm. It's the same guy, but he's like the main one. So
Right.
then he's just like, all right, you're the perfect clone. You do what I say. You're going to be good to all my customers, so I can focus on my work that I want to do.
Right. And he sends us on a mission.
Yeah, and he happens to be one of the only people in this district that has magical items.
Right. And we wanted those magical items.
Yes, you did.
But we didn't have the gold for it. Mm-hmm. So he was like, well, I had a shipment.
Well, I had a shipment here that was supposed to be coming in probably about a week and a half ago, but when they were coming down north from the capital, they just disappeared, and I never got any news from my driver. So if you would like to go and check that out for me, then maybe I'd be willing to compensate you for your efforts, and maybe we can talk about trading and bartering. And
That is such a jovial voice. Did you see the smile just creep onto my face about it? So we went on the mission to find the alleged... I immediately assumed bandits, because why wouldn't it be? Mm-hmm. So we found the bandits.
yes, you did.
And, oh goodness, they nearly gave us the work.
Yeah, they almost got you.
So we found the bandits. We killed the bandits.
You recover the cart.
And we recover the cart. And
With
in the meantime,
items.
I'd like to throw out that Jace's body count has been climbing steadily. And he's becoming more and more desensitized.
Yeah, that's not...
Which is not going to pan out well for him.
Our good boy is getting not so good no more.
Yeah, well, and that's because the other character that I played in this campaign, Simeon the unintentionally racist halfling, was something of a pacifist where he would fight but he would never kill. Mm-hmm. So it's been interesting to see how the killing has affected my character. So we go ahead and travel back to Runetier with the cart.
Yeah.
And we give the dogs,
The Pumats.
we give the Pumats all their stuff.
Oh, thank you very much there. I'm very appreciative of what you've done. So, how about we talk about trade, for what you guys have done today?
And we got some goodies.
Oh, you did.
The first of them being 2 rings, connected
Yes.
and attuned to users, in which they can teleport to each other. Or rather, they can trade places.
They can swap places.
They can swap places.
No matter the distance.
No matter the distance. That would be an awful prank to play on someone.
It really would.
I would imagine someone like popping a squat in the middle of the forest and then teleporting them on top of their foodstuffs.
Mm-hmm. You guys also got a brick.
Oh, the brick of return?
That when you throw it, it comes back to you like a boomerang.
No matter the distance.
No matter the distance.
A la Rock, our super strong character, chucking it about a kilometer away.
Yeah, and it coming straight back to his hand.
Crazy stuff.
Intense. And the last thing was this robe, which was called the Robe of Tongues, but Pumat didn't know what it was and what it did.
Oh, but we found out all right.
And it's pink. It's beautiful.
Do we still have that? Or did it break?
You guys still have it.
Oh, we have to use that as a torture device.
And what it does is when Erin used her when she used her identify spell on it, it told her and showed her that it gives her the ability to speak any language within 30 feet, as long as she hears it for a minute, which is a great and very powerful item.
That is a dastardly enchantment.
Yeah, so she attunes to it and finds out that it was a fake. It has a specific enchantment against identify, which gives it a different thing, but what it really does is let her taste everything
within a 30 yard
within 30 yards
within a 30-yard diameter, right?
Yep.
So 15-yard radius. Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
She woke up next to 3 sweaty sleepy men. One of them being a non-hygienic giant.
Oh man, and it was I've never felt disgust in Dungeons and Dragons, but it was such an intense and visceral explanation that Mackenzie literally gagged.
Yep.
It was great.
It was awful.
It was also cursed, so she couldn't get it off. So Exalia had to help you guys.
And we have that item.
You do.
And I cannot wait to fool some bastard into wearing it. I'm going to have her give me the Robe of Tongues.
Ew.
And I'm going to put it on someone while they're asleep.
But anyways, you guys continue traveling north. Along your travel north towards the capital of Trelavan, you guys find a cube. This little gelatinous cube that's like white and clear and see-through. And it burns a little and it seems to be following you guys. And you guys capture it and it ends up liking to clean things. And so you guys stick it on a rock and it cleans him good. And he's now the cleanest person out of all.
He's like put together.
Yes.
Looking like a
snack.
Looking like a snack.
Looking like a thick steak.
But also looking a little bit like Thor.
Yeah.
In Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. Along this battle a little bit after, in the same session, Rock, who was waiting to have some character development, has this moment where he's sitting out and he can't sleep because he's frustrated and just angry, and he has this unresolved tension for no reason.
Right.
And he had always been living with this, and then he sees this storm coming and this lightning strike, and he hears this voice beckoning him out into the storm, and it's intense. It's spooking the horses. It's scaring you guys. Erin makes a little structure to protect you guys and the horses.
Oh, we kept the cart and the horses, by the way.
Yeah, you did. You guys see this little ball of lightning floating there in the middle of the road. Rock, on the other hand, sees the same version of himself.
Right.
But made of lightning. And he has to fight this thing. And you guys go and attempt to help him. And every time that you guys try to help him, the thing gets bigger and stronger and faster. And this is where it's awesome. So he's fighting this lightning thing and doing his best. He's using the brick. He's using his hammer. He ties them together with an action and then throws his war hammer with this brick tied to it, doing so much damage and eventually killing this thing, hearing a voice booming in his head through the thunder.
Something along the lines of "you've proven your worth," right?
Yeah, of why prove that you're worthy of something. It starts with this thing of like, why are you fighting? What do you fight for? And then it goes, you've proven yourself for now. And he defeats this thing, throwing his hammer into the air with the thing on top of it to bring the hammer striking down, smashing into the ground, leaving a small crater. And lightning then striking the hammer, turning it into the Warhammer version of Mjolnir.
Right, so Stormbreaker.
Yeah, Stormbreaker.
But it's not quite an axe.
Yeah, but a Warhammer, the
Right.
real long one. Super cool. Gets a new item, has this new quest, has this newfound meaning. You guys keep traveling north. You guys get to Trelavan, You guys find out that the city is going to war,
which is intense.
Which is crazy because
I've known my land to be peaceful.
And it always has been for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
We also find out that the entire leadership of my organization was executed.
Yep.
Well, I find out.
Mm-hmm.
I find out that the entirety of my leadership was executed and replaced for treason. Mm-hmm. Which was a shocker.
Yeah. And you would have known one of the characters probably pretty well. This old, very old dark elf known as Geralt of Evers. And that's not his actual name, but it's his given name after he, what's the word? Immigrated from the Underdark. You would have known this guy. Crazy. What? He was one of the founders of the Hood. He was one of the people that like structured and organized it the way that it is.
Goodness gracious.
And hearing that he was executed for treason is like, what?
Yeah. In addition to that, the new Talons gave us a mission. And the mission, or rather a group of missions, where there were a lot of different options involving taking down Skald, which we decided that we weren't ready for.
Yeah.
There was one of negotiation, where we travel with the princess back to the desert to negotiate with the desert tribes.
You guys do know that mission specifically wasn't it wasn't like a Black Hood mission, but a mission that came from the king to the Black Hood.
Right.
Of like, hey, you guys need to do this, do it. And the other one was like, hey, this is something that we need to do, as an organization. So, continue.
And there was one other mission, right?
It was to travel to the
Vertalock.
Which is the country to the southeast, and to talk to the 5 merchant kings and to try to, like, diplomat your guys' way back into good favor.
Right. And was that the place that declared war on us?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So we were trying to...
Or it was one of the places that, like, things were getting real testy, and you guys got the hair of the leader of the
Shattered Isles.
The Shattered Isles.
Got it. Which was to the west.
Which is to the west. And the crazy thing about that nation is the moment that you guys got that hair, it signified that the leader there was declaring war or is dead.
Right. We don't know which.
You guys don't know which, but you guys do know from reports that you're hearing from the Black Hood that what was once a stable nation has now turned into the equivalent of warring states era Japan.
With an alleged pale gray-haired boy being the causality behind it.
Or at least being somehow connected to it.
Right. A la Skald. So we decided to get the princess and go to the desert.
Yeah.
And we met Rayana.
Yeah.
Oh, Rayana.
Oh, Rayana. The love of your life.
Not yet.
Oh, but she's getting there.
He has
real quick.
He definitely has a crush on her.
Yeah, I mean, you've crushed on everybody.
You're right.
The 17-year-old Jace.
This is true. Also 17-year-old Greg.
Yeah.
You remember.
I do remember. But you guys go and meet with her. You guys meet some of the royalty, which is also a really cool moment.
Yeah, they were great.
And then as you guys are traveling with her and getting preparations ready and preparing to go out of the city that day, the city's attacked.
By a spellcaster of some sort.
Yeah, she's a woman and she's standing atop a tower
in
the market district. Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Standing on top of a tower in the market district. And things are being destroyed, buildings are crumbling, and people are coming back to life after they die.
And something's flying in.
It's a large adult, easily adult, black dragon. And not black in the scales more than it is black of its aura and its effect that it gives off this like constant liquid shadow just falling and dissipating off of its scales.
Right.
And it's torching the place in Blackfire. You guys are ready to kill it. You guys are fighting your guys' way out.
Until we quickly realize that we are no match.
Until Rock takes a hit, your guys' tank, and is at less than a quarter health.
We ran
Quickly.
quickly.
With the help of Rayana, seeing very quickly of, oh god, this is a dragon. I better open the gates. And she opens the gates for you guys, takes the reins of your guys' thing as you guys are fending off from these undead creatures. And you guys dash off.
And Jace also learning very quickly that Princess Rayana is more than meets the eye.
Absolutely.
And is not just a royal little brat. Mm-hmm. She is something more than that and something more capable than that.
Absolutely. Well. You guys are looking back to see something flying in the air, ballista flying in the air, and then a wing on the dragon tearing and plummeting to the ground.
So we are to believe that the city of Trelevon won, but at what cost?
Yes. You also don't know if the dragon is dead.
Right.
Meta, the reason that thing happened, just as you guys were leaving, they were arriving, right? The other party.
Uh-huh.
You guys left the gates as they rushed into the fight.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys
so they joined
crossed
the fight.
paths.
Interesting.
Yeah. They took an off route through another spot while you guys took the main road because they're like, we can't get attention right now. We need to come in as a sneak attack. And so they were on the outskirts of the gates while you guys were on the inside starting the fight, and they went, and the reason that wing tore was because of one of their characters taking a moment and breaking an artifact that they found in another part of the world.
Huh.
Which momentarily stopped time for that character, to which they found a way to launch themselves up and start ripping the wing of the dragon.
Goodness gracious. So it wasn't a ballista, it was a person.
Yes.
Wild. Who was playing that character?
DJ.
Awesome.
And it was intense. I'm not going to tell you what happens afterwards.
Yeah, no, please don't.
Because it's going to come back.
Well, eventually, yeah.
Yeah, the effects of that battle are still going to affect you guys later.
Right. Like as we go back to Trelevon later?
Possibly.
Goodness gracious.
Possibly as you guys go throughout the rest of the world.
And I think that's pretty much where we are, right? Mm-hmm. Everything else was mostly a standstill.
And that's where you guys are. You guys are just rushing out of the country, now getting probably about a week's worth away from the thing, and finding out that Rayana doesn't trust the leaders of the Black Hood.
Right.
That she's a bit of a conspiracy theorist, in your opinion.
Right. In my player opinion, my character is a little naive, and so he's sort of going along with it. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, this is all a little bit weird."
Yeah.
But me personally, I think that Rayana is
a bit of a conspiracy theorist,
slightly uninformed.
Yeah.
As a princess, they're not telling her everything, and she's coming to some conclusions that aren't based on whole truths. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am.
Oh, you know what we missed? When you guys are traveling towards Trelevon the first time, when you guys get to Fairmuir.
Oh, I went around Fairmuir and made it take 2 weeks longer.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to see my family.
And you find a wanted poster.
Oh, of Aaron.
Of Aaron.
That's right. That's really important.
That's offering, what was it, 20,000 platinum?
Platinum.
Which is the equivalent of, what, 2 million?
2 million gold.
2 million gold?
Yeah.
Which is huge. You guys also have to fight off bounty hunters from her kingdom, finding out that Aaron is a princess that is on the run from her forced fiance, and her power-hungry father. Yeah.
So it started a whole other plot point where she got a letter from her wet nurse as well.
Yep. You ready for the names of these quests? So the one that you guys are currently in, the big one with
the one with
the
Rayana?
rays with yes, technically it's the larger one that you guys haven't completely uncovered yet. Is called Undying Rage.
Oh.
Oof. You guys have Sanctuary, which is your passive quest with Mistigan. You have Finding Vecna, or Invictus. You have Pavash's Song,
which seems mostly resolved, but we need to make sure.
Yeah, but you guys need to figure out some stuff there. And then you guys have Aaron's plot, which is called Troubled Waters.
Oh, God.
Such a cool name.
I love that. So that's pretty much where we are right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to tell everyone that I figured out how we can begin to record our sessions to where each member of the table will have their own microphone. And we're hoping to have that active by mid-November.
Yep.
Which is right around the corner, all things
really
considered.
is. I'm so excited.
We'll have updates like this. They won't all be almost an hour long. They'll be a lot shorter because, you know, it's only going to be week-long intervals rather than several months.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Once that starts happening, this podcast is going to take a little bit of a change, and it's going to turn into we'll have our session on Sunday, and then when we record this episode, this will be something separate where we bring out people that are playing, and I ask questions, and you guys could send in questions from listening and in the campaign and whatever.
Yeah, if you want
finding out what's going on with their characters and what they're thinking about what's going on and their meta thoughts.
And if you guys want any clarification, hit us up on Twitter. You can find us at Hungry Bros Pod, and we'll be happy to answer any and all questions about the campaign there.
Absolutely. But that's all we have for you guys this week. We're so glad that you guys are tuning in for Season 1 of Hungry Dungeon.
And we're so glad to be back.
Heck yeah, we are. We're excited for more D&D and more home-cooked food and more home-brewed content.
Yeah. You want me to do the socials?
Heck yeah, my guy.
Okay, so you can follow us on Twitter, as I've already mentioned, at Hungry Bros Pod. You can like us on Facebook, also at Hungry Bros Pod. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Podbean app.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, we are extremely excited. We're extremely excited to be on Spodcasts.
That's correct.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
That's correct, Spodcast.
And furthermore, you can follow me on Instagram at Grandiloquent Mediocrity, and there you can see little
_ mediocrity.
Oh, Grandiloquent _ mediocrity. That's right. There you can see me doing some music stuff. I am going to be releasing an EP this winter. Very excited about that. You can also see cosplay updates. I'm building a cosplay right now.
Ooh.
And you can also see my regular... I try to do it weekly. I never do it consistently. Of Pokemon Go, I have a little running series called #Catch of the Week.
Ah.
Yeah, very cool. And I just caught an Eevee with a flower crown.
Oh,
and it's
Chalupa.
awesome. So yeah, you can find us in all of those places. You can find Noe via carrier pigeon.
That's correct.
And or messenger rat.
That's correct.
And we talked about this in Nerd News. He will not eat the pigeon because that's not proper for.
That's correct.
For carrier pigeon protocol.
That is very bad pigeon protocol.
But he will eat regular pigeons.
That is correct.
So what you can do with the messenger pigeon is in the tube of the carrier pigeon, you can put another pigeon. And Noe will eat that pigeon and send back the messenger.
I will.
Yep.
That everyone knows that's just proper pigeon procedure.
That's just the thing to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, friends.
Bye.